The restaurant was warm and golden, a place where laughter blended with the clinking of glasses and the soft hum of piano music. Rain trickled outside, painting the city in shimmering reflections. Inside, a woman sat alone at a candle-lit table, elegant, poised, and slightly nervous. Her name was Elena Hart, a 31-year-old CEO of a growing luxury fashion brand, known for her confidence and perfectionism. But tonight, she wasn't here as the CEO everyone feared or admired. She was here as a woman trying something she hadn't done in years, a blind date. She glanced at her watch. Her date was already 30 minutes late. A sigh escaped her lips. She wasn't used to waiting. In her world, people waited for her. She checked her phone again. Nothing. She swirled the red wine in her glass and tried not to let disappointment show. At the same moment, a man stumbled into the restaurant, rain dripping from his jacket. He looked around quickly, holding a small gift bag and a folded note. His name was Ryan Cole, 33, a single dad who had been juggling 2 jobs since his wife passed away 3 years ago. His daughter, Lily, was his whole world, a bright, curious 6-year-old who had convinced him to try dating again, after she caught him eating dinner alone in front of the TV for the 100th night in a row. Ryan wasn't used to fancy places like this. The chandeliers, the polished tables, the waiters gliding silently, everything screamed money and confidence, 2 things he didn't have. He glanced at his note again. Table 14, red dress. That was all his friend told him about the woman he was supposed to meet. He scanned the tables and spotted a woman in a deep red dress, sitting alone, her chin resting on her hand, eyes distant and sad. His heart skipped. That must be her. He wiped his hands on his jeans, took a deep breath, and walked over. "Hi, sorry I'm late," he said with an awkward smile. "Traffic was crazy, and my babysitter almost canceled last minute." Elena looked up, her expression surprised, then slightly softened. "Oh, you made it," she said, uncertain but relieved to not be sitting alone anymore. "I was starting to think I'd been stood up." Ryan laughed nervously and sat down. "Yeah, I wouldn't miss this. Not every day you get a chance like this." They exchanged a few awkward words before the waiter appeared. "Would you like to order, sir?" Ryan quickly glanced at the menu, and froze. The prices were terrifying. $50 for a salad. He swallowed hard, trying to look calm. I'll just have water for now," he said with a sheepish grin. Elena arched an eyebrow but didn't comment. She ordered her usual, salmon with lemon butter and a glass of white wine. For a while, conversation stumbled like an uneven dance. Ryan, nervous and humble, tried to make light jokes. Elena, composed and guarded, responded politely. But as minutes passed, something shifted. She found herself smiling, genuinely smiling, for the first time in weeks. When he talked about his daughter, his whole face lit up. "Lily's obsessed with stars," he said, eyes shining. "We built a telescope out of old plumbing pipes and a magnifying lens. She says she's going to find new planets and name one after me." Elena laughed softly. "She sounds wonderful." "She is," Ryan said proudly. "Keeps me going, even on the bad days." That simple honesty, the warmth, the humility, hit something deep inside Elena. She wasn't used to that kind of conversation. Most men she met talked about themselves, their success, their ambition. Ryan talked about love, life, and small joys. Hours slipped by unnoticed. They talked about childhood dreams, about the music they loved, about loss. He told her about losing his wife to cancer, how he promised her he'd never stop smiling for their daughter's sake. She told him about losing her mother at a young age and how that loss made her build walls around her heart. When the waiter brought the bill, Ryan reached for it instinctively, then froze when he saw the total. His stomach twisted. Before he could say a word, Elena slid her card across the table. "I've got it," she said softly. "No, please, all." "Ryan," she interrupted gently, meeting his eyes. "It's just dinner." He hesitated, then smiled awkwardly. "Okay, but next time, it's on me." Her lips curved into a small smile. "Next time," he blushed slightly. "Only if you want there to be one." That night, outside the restaurant, rain still fell softly. Elena stood under her umbrella, watching Ryan struggle with his coat. "You really should have brought an umbrella," she teased. He laughed. "Guess I didn't think that far ahead." Without thinking, she tilted her umbrella toward him, covering them both. They stood close, too close, as rain pattered around them. For a moment, time seemed to freeze. Then, she said quietly, thank you for sitting with me tonight. He looked at her, confused. I should be thanking you. Elena smiled faintly. Funny thing is, I think you sat at the wrong table. Ryan blinked. Wait, what? She laughed softly. My date was supposed to be a guy named Martin. He never showed up. Ryan's face turned red. Oh my god, you're kidding. I'm not, she said, eyes glimmering with amusement. But I'm glad you made that mistake. He stared at her for a moment, then burst out laughing. So, I basically crashed your date. Apparently, she said with a smirk. But it turned out better than I expected. That was the beginning. Over the next few weeks, they kept meeting, coffee, walks in the park, dinners that felt less like dates and more like two people finding pieces of themselves they didn't know were missing. Ryan brought her simple joy, handmade cards from Lily, surprise coffee at her office, laughter that cut through the stress of board meetings. Elena, in turn, brought light into his tired world, helping him find better work, introducing him to people who saw his worth. Lily adored her instantly. She looks like a princess, she whispered the first time she met Elena. Elena knelt, smiling warmly. And you must be the star explorer I've heard about. They bonded quickly. Lily would draw pictures for her, and sometimes Elena would visit just to help her with homework or bake cookies, something she hadn't done in years. For the first time, Elena felt what family warmth really meant. But not everyone approved. At her office, whispers started. The CEO's dating a single dad. From a hardware store, her board members questioned her choices, her friends warned her she was risking her reputation. One evening, after a long meeting, Elena sat in her car, staring at Ryan's message, Lily's school has a little play tonight. She wanted you to come. She hesitated, her world and his were so different. Yet, something inside her whispered, go. When she arrived, the school auditorium was buzzing with laughter and chatter. Kids in paper costumes ran around. She saw Ryan sitting near the front, waving shyly when he saw her. And then she saw Lily on stage, dressed as a little star, grinning from ear to ear. When the show ended, Lily ran straight into her arms. You came, she squealed. Elena laughed, hugging her tightly. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Ryan stood nearby, watching the two most important people in his life laugh together. In that moment, he knew, he didn't just like Elena. He loved her. But life has a way of testing people when they least expect it. A week later, a business magazine published an article, CEO Elena Hart's secret romance with a single dad, risking her empire for love. Paparazzi followed. Reporters camped outside her office. Her board called an emergency meeting. This could damage our brand, they warned. You need to end this, Elena. That night, Ryan came to her apartment after seeing the news. His face was pale, eyes heavy. I think maybe, I'm just making things harder for you, he said quietly. She looked at him in disbelief. What are you talking about? Your company, your image, I don't fit in that world. I don't want to be the reason you lose everything. Elena shook her head. You're not, but he stepped back. I love you, Elena. Enough to walk away if it means protecting you. Tears filled her eyes. Don't you dare do this. He smiled sadly. You deserve someone who matches your world. Then he left. Days turned into weeks. She threw herself into work, pretending she was fine. But nothing felt right anymore. Meetings blurred, laughter felt empty, success meant nothing. She missed him, his warmth, his humor, the way he made everything real. Then, one rainy night, she found herself driving past the old restaurant, the same one where it all began. And through the window, she saw him, sitting alone, at the same table, with a small folded note in his hand. She parked the car, heart pounding, and walked inside. He looked up in shock. Elena, she stood before him, tears shining in her eyes. You really thought I'd let you go that easily? Ryan stood slowly. I didn't want to hurt you. She stepped closer, voice trembling. You didn't hurt me, you healed me. For a long moment, they just stared at each other, then she reached out, took his hand, and whispered, let's start over. This time, no mistakes. He smiled, eyes soft. I'm pretty sure sitting at your table wasn't a mistake. She laughed through tears. You're right, it was fate. From that night on, they stopped caring what the world thought. She stood by him publicly, defying every critic. He supported her with quiet strength, always reminding her of the things that truly mattered. Months later, at a quiet garden wedding with only close friends and family, Lily walked down the aisle holding flowers, giggling as she whispered, Mom says it's my turn to find a star now. And when Elena looked at Ryan, her once mistaken date, she realized he had become the one thing her perfect world had always been missing. Love that didn't need perfection, only truth. In the end, it wasn't the wrong table. It was the right love, found by accident, held by choice, and never let go again.